Alright, welcome everybody to another mixing video. Today we're going to be looking at balance. So I have a way that I approach balance, and a couple different ways actually. So sometimes I start with drums, or the other method that I'll use is I'll determine the important elements of the song, and I will start with that. So sometimes I may start with a vocal because, that's usually the most important part of a mix. In rock songs, it might be guitar, so maybe sometimes I'll start with that. But a lot of times I'll start with drums because drums are the foundation of everything. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started on balancing that. Usually I balance things on my monitors and then check it in headphones, but for the sake of recording this video, I'm not going to be listening to the monitors because it'll feedback in the mic. So I'm going to do this all on headphones, so I might not get this perfectly how I want it, but I'm going to get it as close as I can. So when I start with drums, I start with the left overhead almost always, because for me the main sound of the drums is the overheads, okay? And the left one in particular because that's where most of the snare sound in the overheads is. So yeah, I start with the left overhead, then the right, and then kick, snare, hi-hat, then rooms, and then toms, and then I go from there: bass, guitar, I'll go left to right from there basically. And this time I'm gonna do vocals last actually. So as I said in the last couple of videos, things are gonna be quiet because of the way that I gain stage things here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to ask you to go ahead and turn your speakers up or your headphones, and I'll make all my changes, and then at the very end I'll leave a little bit of time of silence, and during that time go ahead and please turn your headphones or speakers back down, because I don't want to kill your ears when I start speaking again. Okay? So go ahead and turn your speakers up now, and I'm going to go ahead and get started on balancing this.
that you can, any way that you can.
Okay, so I think that's a pretty good starting place for a balance there. Um, so as you could see, you might have noticed that when I'm when I'm balancing tracks, I don't really like to go more than 4 dB plus or minus. But there was, I think there was one spot where I lowered it about 6 dB. Now, things that are extreme, like these rooms and the snare bottom that are very distorted, those things I barely put them in. I like them because the distortion element kind of adds something nice, but I tame it quite a bit. So snare bottom minus 17 on the meter, it's like minus 35 or so. So you can hear it if you listen with a good pair of monitors, or like me right now, my headphones. Excuse me. I can hear it, and it adds a little bit of sizzle to the snare, but that's not something I want like up front. It's overbearing, and the guitar solo, I turned it up quite a bit. I had the vocals pretty much on top of the entire track. The background excuse me, the background vocals could probably be turned down a bit. I would have to check it on my monitors to really hear. But if you look at these meters, I mean, things were pretty consistent. Pretty decent balance, I would say. But things can be tweaked more. This was a very quick run through of this. By the time I come out with the next video, I'll probably have listened to this on the monitors and adjusted it a little more. But let me just tell you why I did what I did. So I want to hear a lot of kick and snare, basically. The toms, I had to dial those back a bit because they were a little overbearing. If I have the chance, I like to lower the volume rather than raise it, but to get most of this overhead sound and the kick and snare, I had to do some boosting. But sometimes that's what you have to do. The bass was a little overpowering over the drums, so I lowered the DI and kept the amp up because I like the sound of this amp a lot. And if you notice, I like to stay as close to 0 dB as possible on the fader here. There's no real rule about that, but I like to keep it close because I like having headroom in both directions. And here around 0 dB, you can see that if you have to do some automation, it'll be finer than here. Like there's a big gap here. I hope that makes sense. But so guitars, had to balance those a bit, dial some things back, boosted the guitar solo because I want that to stand out when it comes through, and it only happens once, and there's nothing really interfering with it. So boost that, let it stand up front. Piano, had to dial that back quite a bit, but it still stands up front, I think. The hums, just basic balancing, basically. Background vocals, I just kept the same. maybe I could turn them all down a little bit, but this was a quick video. And once again, boosted the lead vocal. The double, I brought it down so it didn't get so much of that coursing effect, because later on I'm gonna do a trick that I call vocal spread, and eventually I'll make a video on that as well. So yeah, I would probably from here I would do maybe some balancing here or some automation, but I usually save automation till after pretty much everything. Automation is like one of my last steps. So yeah, this is just basic balancing after I've done some panning, just to get some separation and make things sound kind of cohesive. So the next video will be top-down mixing. So I'll add my mix bus chain, which if you haven't seen my mix bus processing video, you could go ahead and check that out on the channel. So I'll just go over that really quickly, and then I'll go ahead and add some processing on the group level, and then after that I'm gonna make separate videos for mixing background vocals, piano. I've already done a piano one actually, so I'll just touch on that lightly, as well as the lead vocals because I've done a video on that. So just a quick recap. And then acoustic guitars, electric guitar, bass, and drums. Okay, so keep an eye out for all of those. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. If you didn't, go ahead and give it a dislike. As always, go ahead and subscribe if you really like this. I appreciate your time, and keep your eye out for some more videos, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.